everybody, welcome to OND DND, the D&D TTRPG talk show held by Older and Dumber crew. I am Forever DM and problem solver extraordinaire, Hunter.
Environmental and moral player, Joey.
Anti-moral establishment player, Carter. I really try to do the
Anti-D&D establishmentarianism.
Oh my gosh, what a big word. And guys, today, if you haven't figured it out, we are talking about problem solving in TTRPGs, thinking beyond combat. We, of course, have had...
Like the cat puzzle.
Oh, I'm an expert
Like
in
the cat
kobold
puzzle.
social issues. That's what I should have said.
Oh my gosh, that'd have been a good one. As you guys know, we did an episode a while back about combat specifically. Now we are going to talk about essentially all the other stuff we do in D&D, which is solving riddles and puzzles and social interactions or environmental disasters, moral dilemmas, all
like
the stuff.
Exxon Valdez, and you got to clean the baby ducks with Dawn.
Yeah.
Or like...
I'm going to put that in the campaign now. You guys are by the docks, and there's a bunch of ducklings that are like covered in ink or something, and it's like, you need to go clean them.
Or like...
I'll turn that quest in for 200 XP.
Yeah.
Or like sneak into a giant vampire's mansion.
Yeah, there you go.
Or save your friends who snuck into the giant vampire mansion.
That too, yeah. So basically all the stuff that's not combat and putting people's problem solving to the test. So obviously we've sort of just talked about some of the examples. Sneaking into a vampire and then sneaking into the vampire's house after they get caught.
Sneaking into the vampire.
Sneaking into the
he
vampire.
also
Wow.
got caught with us. He just was able to get away.
Yeah, that's what it was. What other, before we get like too deep, what are some other examples you can think of that aren't combat problem solving?
Well, we said the ducks.
Yeah.
Breaking and entering.
We said that.
Political espionage.
Okay. Okay.
Which is also like breaking and entering.
Social interaction maybe is what I would call that, but
Oh yeah.
No,
a
that's,
social encounter.
You know, planting, incriminating
Seeds.
evidence, little chaos seeds.
Little
Chaos seeds.
So guys, with your little
My
chaos
favorite
seeds,
Sonic power.
with your chaos seeds, let's move into
Knuckles is like, it's time for the chaos seed.
let's move into the first section of this problem solving topic, and we're going to start with puzzles and riddles, okay? First we're going to talk about what makes a good puzzle and what makes a bad puzzle. What makes a puzzle fun rather than frustrating?
I feel like if puzzles get too convoluted and up their own ass, they get frustrating.
Okay.
Repeat the question.
If you have to
What
play
makes a
5D
good-
chess and be like, I know what you're gonna say next, puzzle.
What makes a good puzzle and what makes a bad puzzle? That's what we're talking about right now to start.
Yeah, I think something not too overly complicated, but complicated enough where it feels like like a puzzle.
I like ones with that are actual puzzles with visual, physical materials you get to play with.
I can put my hand on it. Where's my puzzle? Nothing more than 20 pieces.
Like the BioShock hacking puzzles where you have to like let the fluid go through the pipes.
Yeah.
Those are the best.
Those okay, so like pipe puzzles, those are fun. I remember in Mass Effect, I loved doing the like hacking puzzles, and they had 3 different ones. It was like the match the different nodes, and then click the right code that pops up, and then oh shit, I can't remember the other one. I literally just played it, but either way, the hacking stuff was cool.
I like the wordy puzzles with also actions in game. I don't know.
Likes the wordy puzzles.
I don't know. I like where you have to do something with the physical space in the game to solve the puzzle, like move things around or like...
I'm just saying.
Okay.
Usually, like on a tabletop, the representation of that is index cards or something. But
I like the
same
one
idea.
There's one where like classic puzzle where it's like you have wheat, you have a chicken, and you have a fox, and you have to figure out how to make them all cross a path. So usually the characters will pick like a symbol of a chicken or something like that. And you can do it with whatever kind of symbols you want, but basically you have to solve the puzzle by making sure one is not left with the other. Like the chicken can't be left alone with the the wheat, and the fox can't be left alone with the chicken and stuff like that.
You can mix the two. Like, I think you can definitely have like riddles as keys. And maybe you have to, determine whatever parts of the riddle relate to the room. But I feel like I don't like the Fellowship of the Ring puzzle where it's just like, I solve this wordplay and then the door opens. Like, I like there to be some interaction in the environment that you have to do. More Indiana Jones.
Gotcha. No, yeah, that makes sense. That actually makes me think of one. What was it? Thousands of bricks
Years ago.
so you come up to in a grove. There's an archway, like a stone archway, that's just there and leads to nothing. Like, you can just walk through it and walk back through it, whatever, blah blah. But written on it, you see, a castle or a keep can be built with thousands of bricks. How many bricks does it take to finish?
1.
You say 1. And then when you say 1, you're able to, there's like a noise cue where you're able to find that there is a piece of the stone arch that's missing. And you then have to look around the debris for a stone or a brick that fits. Yeah. And then the portal opens.
I like the one where you go into a dark room and your party all has dark vision. And there's piles of keys.
Oh, stupid.
Oh,
God, that's a bad one. That's a bad one.
That's the best one.
One I've used
the trick
a lot.
is if they just turn a light on and then they'll see there's only one key that is red. But if you have dark vision, you can't see that.
Holy moly.
Oh, because you can only see in like black and white and gray.
Yeah.
That's devious as hell.
One I've used a lot that I'm surprised no one's ever been like, oh, hey, I know that one, is the Die Hard with a Vengeance. You've got a 5-gallon bucket and a 3-gallon bucket and a scale that needs 4 gallons of water. And you have to dump. Man, it's been so long since I run it. You fill the 5-gallon, you dump it into the 3. You fill the 5-gallon again. I don't remember how it goes, but nobody ever because I used to run it all the time in games, and no one ever was like, "That's from Die Hard."
Oh man, because it has to be 4 gallons.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have a 5-gallon and a 3-gallon. So what is it? Fill the 5, fill the 3, then you're left with 2 gallons.
Right. You empty.
And then you empty the 2 into the one that needs to be 4.
Yep.
Then empty the 3, fill the 5 back up, fill the 3. You've got 2 more gallons. That's 4.
Yep.
Yeah. So you got to do it twice essentially.
Yep.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah. And no one was ever like, I know where you got it.
Wait a minute.
It's always so
Where
funny
is that
to
in
me,
A Vengeance? When does that happen?
It's why he's already with Samuel L. Jackson, and they're solving. It's like at a fountain outside.
Wait. Isn't Vengeance?
No, it's the one with the bomber. It's
Yes.
Hans Gruber's brother.
Yes.
And they're robbing the Federal Reserve.
The Federal Reserve.
And they've got the bombs that mix the components of chemicals.
And then after that one is Live Free or Die Hard, which is the fire sale.
Right. But that doesn't have puzzles in it.
It doesn't. Yeah, which is, yeah. But I was trying to remember where in the story Vengeance is. Yeah.
The one
that's
with
a good
Samuel
one.
Jackson.
And the ends with them on the boat or whatever. Yeah. Oh, that's a good one.
He picks the handcuff by pulling the wire out.
Yeah.
This has nothing
because
to
Samuel
do.
Jackson's like a teacher or something.
Stop.
What?
This is D&D.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Not Die Hard.
You did this. Anyway, so let's talk about tailoring puzzles to your group. Mm-hmm. What are some tips or things
first
you think
need to
people
give
should
everybody
think
an
about?
IQ test?
Yeah, you look around the room, you see how many people are
you
sitting
give everybody
there with
the
their
baby
eyes
toy,
facing in
the
different
baby toy
directions.
with the little thing that you
Drool-
put in the
drool
different
coming
shapes.
out of
If
the
they're
mouth.
putting it all on the square one, then you should probably figure out the puzzles. You need to go from there.
Ask everybody if they know their ABCs.
Yeah. And then when you say, okay, so only 50% of my group is completely mentally checked out
Oh my
before we start. That means I can run a D-class riddle this game.
A D-class riddle. I was thinking maybe there's a group of barbarians. Maybe don't give them, puzzles.
I mean, they have danger sense, trap awareness.
You're right, they do. Well, okay, great tips on that, guys. We actually sort of talked about physical versus logical puzzles. You guys said that a big thing is using like stuff on the table. Using in-character skills. The difference of letting players use intelligence, perception, or investigation to give hints.
I do think that there's a problem with some DMs who will just let you sit there at the puzzle and not do anything. And you'll be like, okay, I'm supposed to be playing a really smart character. I'm not this smart in real life. You're making me feel stupid as a character.
Okay.
And that's breaking my power fantasy for this character. Please let me roll something.
I gotcha. Yeah. I get that. That makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
I think that, investigation should be for, searching out clues for a puzzle. Perception is for observing,
observing potential clues for this puzzle.
No, that's investigation. You're like getting in there, you're looking around.
So that's like finding hidden clues.
No.
Perception is finding
observable elements
Thank
that
you.
could be connected to the puzzle. So maybe
Correct.
there's the big statues in the room.
And then there's the intelligence check, which essentially is you're thinking in your brain as your power fantasy
Why are you making
character.
an intelligence check when you can just roll investigation? It's the same thing.
Well, if you don't know how to look for, if you're not a good looker for things, like if you didn't take the proficiency in investigation because as your smart character, you don't care about like looking for clues, you just care about being smart and calling knowledge.
And then it's always like a default to perception investigation, but you could also have people roll, okay, this is a temple, so maybe your religion
check will
help you.
Yeah.
Or this is, like Keith is an archaeologist.
You almost couldn't remember.
No, I couldn't remember the word. Archaeologist.
He's an Indiana Jones.
Right. History could help.
Yeah.
Because, of similar mechanics and mechanical devices that have come up like this in tombs before.
Yeah. So a character shouldn't be, what am I trying to say, bottlenecked to only those two things.
Just take the lock spell.
I was
knock
going to say lock spell.
The knock
Knock
spell.
spell.
You walk up to the puzzle and you're like, oh, hey.
Nice puzzle.
Stupid. I only did that one time.
Sam was devastated. I'm surprised he hasn't banned knock from all games.
Well, no, it's because that specific puzzle was like, you can solve it this way, or you can just use the knock
I think it
spell.
did literally say, or
like
they can
usually
knock.
puzzles don't just get solved by knock. It's just like this particular puzzle because we
Did
were
work.
playing out of a module. It was like
Did work,
you can solve
yeah.
it this way, or
But back to the intelligence check thing. People can make an intelligence check, and it essentially equates to like I'm a smart character. I need to think about this logical puzzle. You roll, and you're like, oh yeah, I got a 20-something. And I whisper in your ear, hey, this is probably how you get the answer. I figured it out.
I think like making puzzles though, you should go in with trying to figure out how to give like 3 decent clues, like the decent hints. Because then that's when I would give a hint. Is just like, oh, you rolled an intelligence check and you rolled high. Here's like a hint to get you on the right track.
And then here's the next thing of that, which is I kind of said avoiding bottlenecks, but avoiding bottlenecks, which essentially is where you've given them all clues. You've done the rolls, you've done all these things, but the players either still aren't getting it or are solving in a way that isn't so how you're supposed to solve it. So at what point do you just go, oh yeah, that worked? Or, whatever.
I
Guess
feel
they
like
might solve that puzzle next session.
you should have the option there for a few out of the box ways to solve stuff.
Alternate solves.
Yeah, so
Be ready for alternate solves.
Maybe the barbarian who's like just sitting there like, oh my god, come on guys, you're fucking ridiculous. Looks around the room, sees like the mechanism that like pulls the gate, and he's like, can I pull this and see what happens?
Oh, that's a good one. Where essentially like, so you get to that point where all the characters have rolled a bunch and they still can't figure it out. But the person who hasn't been like involved because they don't think they can do anything, you have them roll and they find an alternate like, oh my gosh, that's the wiring for this bomb. I'm just gonna, or door, I'm gonna cut that, and that just works or whatever.
Or just, I don't think like, I don't know, I don't love knock, but also just having like a, so sometimes you can get through puzzles using your resources as a character, like fireball or like glyph of warding or like,
yeah, you can
certain,
do
like enlarge or reduce. Like I just go up to that and I
think you do have to
cast
be
reduce.
careful with that that's a good one. as a DM, because I feel like you can build puzzles that like, so say you do like a fifth element puzzle, right? And you have the 4 elements.
Yeah.
You don't want to like exhaust actual resources on that puzzle. But if somebody can be like, oh, I do a flame shot.
No, I think that
For the fire.
Like if they can't solve the puzzle the correct way, then it should take a resource.
Yeah, but I'm saying that there's an option there to use like in-game mechanics like cantrips.
You know what's funny is I feel what you're saying, because like on the last dungeon, the door. So what it actually required was you to just make an Arcana check.
Yeah.
But instead of thinking, oh, I can just do an Arcana check, you used Starry Wisp. And I was like, that's good enough. You're using magic to do it. I think that's fine. And you essentially just had to roll what the DC was as an Arcana check to hit. And that worked. But I have been wanting to do that more now, is try and do things that don't require you, like use the skill and I'll explain how it works, rather than, oh, let me use the resource. Because I think there's I feel like Arcana skill is underutilized. A lot of times people are just like, I need to know if it's magic. Is it magical? Could it be magical? I mean, I think you just know that. I think the Arcana skill maybe tells you more about it or helps you interact with something
Research it.
that's magical.
Yeah.
See, I don't know. I agree with a lot of what you're saying, but also I feel like every puzzle is an encounter on its own.
Yeah.
Like every puzzle should be treated as an encounter, and like you should use resources on encounters. So I feel like
I'm not saying that you shouldn't have puzzles specifically designed where like, oh yeah, there's, burn this high level ability to open this door.
Yeah. Well, I
But
just
I'm
meant more as
saying
like a
that-
second alternative instead of like.
Yeah. I feel like too many people just like, okay, it's a lock and there's a riddle. Like
Yeah.
when they're designing.
Yeah.
All right. So next would be, all right, we've got time for one more of these. Would be social encounters and negotiations. So these are things like, talking to the shopkeep or understanding NPCs' motivations, certain conflict resolution that doesn't end with fighting, that kind of stuff. So the first thing to bring up is the section here is more than just a persuasion roll. So it's something I like, and it kind of irks me when it's like, so can I just make a persuasion check or something? Like, I would rather us engage in the role play, and then I will tell you if what you've done is needing a persuasion roll or if you're just in the wrong direction.
I will say that like it's the same thing as like making the intelligent character feel dumb. You might want to play a charismatic character but not be like outwardly charismatic at the table.
Okay.
But I mean, you can still be like, well, my character would approach this like this and sort of do this to sort of build up to the role. You don't just go up and be like, can I persuade them?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's not the I'm a charismatic guy, so I walk in, can I make a persuasion roll? Well, what do you say? Well, can I make a persuasion roll? No. First, let's see where it goes, and then I'll let you make the roll. That's the difference. Like it's not just make the roll and done. But I get that though, for people who, they want to play a charismatic person, but they're not that charismatic. It's not saying you can't make the roll, but the whole point of this game is to learn things about yourself and to develop. And that's a way to do that. You want to play someone charismatic, so maybe somewhere in your little heart, you hope to be a little more charismatic.
You can always describe in the third person.
You can always do that too. That's a big one too. I feel like a lot of people don't think they can do, but you totally can. My character would, or my character is doing this, rather than having to act it out. Is
It's
just
separating you from the character too, which is a lot of times it's like, well, I do this. Do you? Is that what you would actually do in character?
So
Because
prefacing
I'm
it
looking
with,
at your background here, and it says that you're a timid bookworm.
timid bookworm, and you want to beat
Romance the princess
Yeah.
and beat up a knight.
I don't think you can do that. So stuff like that. A card.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
Wow,
Third
he's just very
person.
quiet there.
He hates social encounters.
Does he hates him? Hates
I
shopping.
hate shopping episodes. I
Hate
didn't say I
shopping
hate
episodes.
social encounters.
That's where all the social encounters are.
He had a whole session of social encounters while he was getting his blood pulled out of his body in the last campaign.
Oh
yeah.
yes, yeah,
That's
that
fun.
was a thing. Trying to
Forced me
understand,
there. Kept me there. I couldn't go anywhere.
trying to understand NPCs' motivations.
They're all assholes who don't know anything.
Using logic.
Especially if they're wearing a lab coat. Watch out.
Watch out.
Watch out for the
Any
lab
supposedly
coats, guys.
helpful NPCs, just write them off.
Every
They're
time.
not doing
All right,
shit.
this person's either going
It's
to
literally-
backstab us or die.
So it's funny they're bringing this up now because
Useless.
that's the last part of this, and that's dealing with mistrust and skeptical NPCs. Making sure that we can provide worth, earn trust, or work around hostility. And with these guys, it's an uphill battle.
You're hostile.
Every time I introduce an NPC, it is a uphill battle.
I feel like Mithros is the first time you haven't had like an outwardly hostile NPC that's like supposed to big interact with the group. And Boss's
Instantly.
instinct is,
I don't like you. You're crazy. Stupid. What do you mean? There's so many good NPCs. We just had this conversation last night. There are a bunch of good NPCs. You just happen to only remember all of the like bad ones or ones that like
When has an
turn on
NPC ever
you.
been helpful to us? Really?
Oh my
Like, when have they not
gosh.
already given information that we already know because we're fact-finding fiends?
Wow. I can't even.
I kid. Brother Brotherman's all right.
He is Brother Brotherman's
So
a great
far.
guy.
He is clergy though.
He
so
did try to kill that kid, but
he was gonna straight put a Glock to that kid.
But that's a whole thing of understanding NPCs' motivations, which is another thing. Coming up with conflict resolution rather than
Conflict revolution.
conflict revolution.
Wee-oo.
Conflict
Viva!
resolution.
Viva la revolution!
Viva la revolution! Rather than ending with a fight, figuring out ways to not fight.
Yeah. Especially in these modern times of Coralthea.
Yeah, like kidnap their children, and then they'll just do whatever you want.
Oh my God.
The consequences
this
of
guy runs an 8-0.
So a big one that we'll finish this on is consequences of choices. Not just because you fight people, but because of your social encounters. They will shape the world from, diplomacies, betrayals, all types of different things that lead to big changes within the world. A couple of big things that you guys did in your campaign 1 of social encounters that affected the world of Coralthea.
Now we
Can you
have
remember?
trains.
Yeah.
I don't know. Actually, I
And
don't know if
guns.
any of your social interactions. were trains.
Winona Ryder.
Yeah.
I
She was
funded that bitch.
already a
Yeah,
part
and
of
then
the
I
company.
funded it. There is a train station in Provencium, and the first train was
You
named
didn't-
after the Duchess.
You
So
didn't make trains.
I put my thumbprint there.
Yeah. Fick invented guns.
No, guns were already being
No,
invented.
Fick invented them.
No, he didn't.
He went to that college
Oh, yeah.
and he was
Oh
he was like, "Here's some designs for you. I see you working on these little crossbows."
And
Harper,
that wasn't it.
what if
all.
bullets-
Harper helped bring back the Vinar and also made NATO.
I hate that. I was gonna say maybe the wish, which was a social interaction.
Yeah, we had a lot of social
I don't know.
interactions.
That was endgame stuff.
that was a choice.
No, that was DLC.
DLC. Well, anyway, guys.
No, that was a big lead up for me and Afina because we had talked about it a lot.
It was the
in-game.
Harper and Afina DLC that we got after the main campaign.
You're right. You're right. Well, anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Remember that not everything has to be combat, and problem solving can be really big in your campaigns.
Try breaking and entering.
Yeah, let us know about your stories
bad
of
could
problem
happen.
solving. Put them in the chat, and hopefully we can, not the chat, put them in the comments.
Yeah, and we'll
we
feature
can
'em.
feature them on a future episode.
Try planting evidence.
Yeah. Try liking, comment, and sharing.
Oh,
Subbing, ringing the bell.
Oh, ring
Planning a coup.
my bell. Thank you all for joining us for OND DND, the TTRPG talk show by Older and Dumber. I am your forever DM and creator of magnificent social encounters, Hunter.
Fantastic problem solver. Problem solving player. Problem causing player. Joey.
Cobalt
couple of
sociologist Carter.
Stupid. Bye, guys.
Hey there, dipshits. It's me, Joey, a.k.a. Slooty Mage.
I'm Hunter, voice of Hunter Taylor.
And I'm Carter, Eagle Eagle. We're
Older and Dumber.
Every Friday, we drop wisdom, humor, and a whole lot of nonsense. You won't want to miss it.
Become a patron today for as low as $5 a month. Get early access to all our episodes and exclusive behind-the-scenes looks at all the things we're doing and May's super secret editing notes.
Shout out to our awesome dipshits. Your support really helps keep this madness going.
Join the crew, be a dipshit. It's an exclusive club, and you're invited.
Don't dipshits mark your calendar every Friday for a dose of older and dumber craziness. See you there.
Fade to black. Now my stand. Fade to black.